And that is what I have to share with council, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. I have some questions about the $1 million email that went missing for a week and was not reported to council. You received an email sent to yourself and the mayor from the King County Executive's Office about this newly imposed deadline on accepting the $1 million. You did not provide notice to council for a week, a full week following that. And you told council specifically you lost the email. Specifically what you said on November 3rd was that the letter was shared with me last week through email. I'm sorry to share with you the email from Shannon Braddock went unopened and became lost until today due to the more than 150 email messages I have received since Sunday regarding.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I know I
I'm
realize I'm
speaking.
interrupting.
I'm speaking and I would like to have my question
Mayor,
answered.
if
I can take,
Okay, why don't, okay.
okay. I would like to ask my
First, I'll
question.
have her speak for her 5 minutes. I'm sorry, audience, please keep quiet.
Sure.
And then you'll definitely have a chance to respond.
Oh, no, it's
Thank
not
you,
an
Madam
objection to the
Mayor.
response, Mayor. I certainly will respond to the question, but
I would
I'm
like
just
to
attempting
speak,
to
Madam
remind-
Mayor.
For more, I already said that
Okay.
you'll have your chance to speak, and I'm asking
Thank you.
the city manager to wait until you finish your comments.
Thank you.
And then we
I'm
can do
more
that.
than willing to entertain the question, Councilmember Moore. However, if there's characterization about work performed by a city employee, this is best left in executive session. So if you have a question, I will ask that you ask the question. But if you characterize the question in a particular way that characterizes the issue outside of executive session, then it could be tantamount to slander. So I suggest that if you have an issue related to human resources,
Madam Mayor,
you
you've
carry it
asked
out
me
as
to
such.
speak and asked the city manager to wait until I'm done
I think you
speaking.
brought up a good point about executive session.
Okay.
I'd like to move to go to executive session.
Madam Mayor,
Second.
I'd like to finish
So
my
the-
comment.
this is executive session material, and I just said, if this is
It's
appropriate
public
for that.
record, Madam Mayor. It's public record. And just for notice, I've already sent this to the press. That's your official notice that I forwarded this to the press.
That's
All of it is
irrelevant,
public
actually.
record.
Actually, that's irrelevant. in
Okay,
terms of
well, I'm
session.
just informing you
So
all.
could someone make a motion for
I'm just
executive
informing
session,
you
and then we
all.
can have that discussion. Councilmember Ramada, did you make that motion?
Make a motion that we go into executive session with the concerns that Councilmember Moore brought and any potential legal action against the city of Burien.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session.
Madam Mayor, I'm
So
sorry,
all those
may I
in
have
favor?
the
for those that are
RCW
in
for the
favor.
executive session?
Okay,
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead.
you.
Just so you know, several media outlets are watching tonight.
they're always watching. We welcome their watching.
Can we hear what the RCW says?
They're looking that up now.
Okay.
Councilmember Moore, I
Thanks.
preside over this meeting. Thank you. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, the RCW section 4231.10.1
Can you say that again? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you.
RCW 42
Mm-hmm.
31.10.1F to receive and evaluate complaints or charges brought against a public officer or employee. However, upon request of such officer or employee, a public hearing or a meeting open to the public shall be conducted upon complaint or charge.
Madam Mayor, can I?
And what is anything that needs to be fulfilled in order to go to executive session under that RCW that you see?
I'm sorry,
Did you hear? So is the complaint in charge? You think that that was met?
I have to admit, I'm not quite sure if it's just a statement or if there's an accusation that's being made. And I think that would be important in terms of determining whether or not this should go into executive session.
Are you making a charge, Councilmember Moore?
I have a question.
What is your question?
So I'd like to continue with the question here. So as I said, there was an email sent to council November 3rd at 1:04 PM that said the $1 million email from the King County Executive's Office was lost and was unread. That's something I think of note. However, I spoke with the King County Executive's Office today and asked them just for clarification, because $1 million email is something pretty important to lose for a week, especially with an imposed deadline this month coming. They sent something interesting to council today that I think is pretty noteworthy. In their email to council was the rest of the thread from their original email to the mayor and the city manager. Specifically, a response from the city manager to that original email with that letter that was supposedly lost and unread. On October 27th at 3:24 p.m., our city manager responded to that email and said, "Hello, Shannon. I confirm receiving the letter. I will make sure to speak with Mayor Aragon and council about the timeline set for selecting a location and deadlines established by the federal government regarding the commitment and use of ARPA funds. I hope to have news to share with you very soon. Thank you, Adolfo." So I just want to bring notice to the fact that in this email was a specific reference to the $1 million funding being ARPA money, because that was something that was very specifically laid out in the letter contained in that email that supposedly was.
Point of
not
order, is
read.
this a question or is this a statement?
Yes, it is a question, and I'd like to
Mayor.
get to the
What's
question.
the
I still have time. You're out of order.
Mayor,
What is your
there's
question?
accusations being made here.
I haven't made any accusations.
You have.
No, I haven't. I
So,
read a
I
statement.
call for an executive
Point of
session. if we're
order.
gonna
I have
go
not
into a-
You're out of
a
order.
situation.
No, I call orders or not.
Great.
So if you want this to be a prolonged agenda item, you can move to have it on the agenda later on.
So can I continue speaking with my time?
Ask your question, please.
So my question is, okay, I would like to know why you told council that you didn't read an email and lost an email that you sent a direct response to, referencing specifically the content within, not just the email, but the attachment inside the email, that letter about $1 million deadline. I would like to know why. And I would like to know how you plan to, I guess, hold the public and council's trust when you are expected to deliver that information that is pertinent to our business in a timely fashion. There are a lot of questions a lot of people have, but for starters, I would like to know why you're saying you lost an email, blaming somebody else.
This is inappropriate. I
It's
don't
a
think-
question. I beg the answer.
No,
I
don't
beg
think
the
it's
answer.
appropriate. No,
I beg the
I don't
answer.
want to spend a lot of time. Okay, so okay,
I've
everybody.
asked a question.
Everybody, please.
Madam Mayor.
Everybody- No, time out for both of
provide
you.
an answer.
Actually, I'm gonna
Provide an answer.
end this conversation with this, okay? Is that I know I was fully aware about the deadline and that between Adolfo and I, the city manager and the mayor, we do conduct meetings to set the agenda. So fully aware of this deadline, that there will be a discussion around the location of this project. But what we needed to incorporate were a lot of questions that frankly, a lot of these council members have asked, and that needs to be provided at the same time, right? What about the city light area? What about Burien Toyota and the financial impact? And so all of those things are going to inform us about the final location. So this whole thing about lost emails, that's great for drama, but that's not really going to inform us about the decision we need to make by November 27th. So I assure you that me and the city manager have set a schedule so that we can answer all of the questions from the council so that we can show the public that we're fully informed when it comes to choosing a site for those funds. Okay, so I think that answers the question. We don't need to go any further.
You said that you had notice on Wednesday. The city manager said he did not
Okay,
open or read the
Councilmember
email until
Moore.
Friday. So you just
Councilmember Moore.
confirmed that he did, and you did too. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for making that clear for the public.
Madam, if it's helpful to just to appease the issue, I certainly could provide an answer, and it's very straightforward, fact-based.
Madam Mayor just answered for you. Thank you. That makes it quite clear that you knew on Wednesday and you told us you
We
didn't
got
know
order
until
on this,
Friday.
Mayor,
Councilmember Mora.
or we take a break.
Madam,
Okay,
I could issue a response, Mayor. if it's-
Okay, go ahead, Adolfo, then we're gonna move on. This
I-
this is very much a distraction, council member. We're set on track to answer the question that the county has set for us many weeks ago. And we're also on track to the several questions that council members have asked around this question. And that's our job, is to lay it out for everybody so that people know why we arrived at our decisions.
I would like to know why the
Yeah,
misinformation was
letter.
given to council, that the letter wasn't read or opened until Friday. I read verbatim what it said.
Councilmember Moore. You're out.
Councilmember,
Go ahead.
Moore, to address the question specifically, I can assure you that there was an oversight on my part and it was an error. I can assure you that happened. I can also assure you that if I was attempting to conceal something from the council, I wouldn't do it through confirming an email message because I am fully involved with the public records request process. And I know that every document that is sent by the city through email is a part of a public request process. So I can assure you that if I attempted to mislead council, it wouldn't have been by sending an email message, leaving a record.
But you did.
So
I could
now-
also-
You said you
Okay,
didn't open an email
Councilmember
until
Moore.
Friday,
Attempting to
that you
answer-
discussed on Monday
Sure.
or
I'm
Wednesday.
attempting to answer a question.
That's
Councilmember.
fine.
I think.
That's
Could
fine.
also,
Okay.
I could also assure you that I can't assure all members of council of this because all other meetings are one-on-one and there is no witness. However, my meetings with you are witnessed by human resources. And in that meeting, I can assure you that I confirmed with you that I spoke with Shannon Braddock.
Yeah.
And that we were going to receive a letter at some point that said that the deadline was November 27th.
You already had it.
So you were made, I found out on Friday that I already had. So I
You
made-
responded to an email
I
that you
made
had on
fully
Friday.
aware on
I'm
November
sorry.
1st.
I'm
Finish the
sorry,
statement.
I don't
Okay,
need to hear anymore.
Audience, I
That's fine,
understand that
thank
you're
you.
really excited about
That's
this,
fine.
but please keep it down.
Thank you, Councilmember
Would you-
Moore. I feel I
would you-
attempted to answer your question. I provided you on November 1st, the November 27th deadline. I confirmed to you that I had spoken with Shannon Braddock.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you receiving a letter on Friday with information in the email was not accurate, and I'm letting you know now, absolutely. I opened the email, responded, left it unopened to deal with it the following week. But I did confirm with you and other members of council that on November 27th, we were going to have a deadline and that I spoke with Shannon Braddock. So this is information that you had available to you by me on November 1st.
You did not give me a
And
date.
it was witnessed by human resources.
Yep,
So.
I
thank
would,
you.
Okay,
I
we're
would love to
going to-
refer to them.
we're
You did
going to
not give
move
me a
on.
date.
Gonna move on right now. Okay, so let's move on to public comment, please. I'm gonna turn it over.
Madam Mayor, may I ask questions as well?
No,
Who's the chair?
we need to, okay, go ahead.
No, point of order. I have questions unrelated to Councilmember Moore's,
What is your question related to?
the rollout of,
So you have a question for the
827,
city
for the city
manager
manager.
about the road.
Yes.
So go ahead and ask your
Thank
question.
you. My question is, when people are being addressed, where are they being directed? Where are we telling people that they can go during the education process of the rollout? What alternative options are being provided or are available? And I guess, are we aware of people showing up in other parts of Burien due to being asked to leave the place that they are now?
Thank you for the question, council member. I can share that, we don't have a requirement to tell people where to go. We are complying with federal court rulings by informing individuals that they have a right to sleep, rest, and occupy public land if there is no shelter for them to occupy during the time of 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. When it comes to daytime hours, we're educating them on the ordinance. We're letting them know that during the daytime hours, there should be no issue of camping, tents up, sleeping, occupying public space that others may not occupy. But in terms of telling them where they can and cannot go, I'm not aware of us providing direction because then we are telling people where to go without actually having a day shelter or a place for people to go. I've not heard any reports of individuals relocating to other locations within the city of Burien. I've just have received reports that individuals from the encampment at Ambom are choosing to accept some service from, not necessarily being offered through any one of our partners, but choosing to either accept service from a different location or choosing to move on to a different location.
As we approach a hard deadline on this, is that going to be the same conversation as that deadline approaches? And then what is the change that's going to happen when the deadline is here?
Yes, and just to be clear, we don't have a set deadline. One of our big focuses is to make sure that people are aware of the change, given as much time as possible without letting our outreach workers giving them the impression that they're literally not going to move until moved. So we're trying to give individuals as much time as possible. There has been no discussion about an actual hard deadline yet. That will occur later this week. So in terms of an actual hard deadline, I can share with you that we were already on November 6th, 6 days after the start of the ordinance. If we're just barely now having a conversation about a hard deadline, it's probably not going to happen this week. So again, this is a part of not criminalizing anyone, reminding them that there's a new ordinance in place. And in terms of directing them where to go, once the cold weather shelter opens, we could certainly direct them to the cold weather shelter. Or if there's a daytime alternative during those time periods, which has historically been in the past, the Burien Community Center, we could certainly direct people to those areas. But sans that, we don't have a location to where we are directing people during the daytime hours.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to public comment. So I'll have the clerk announce the guidelines. And just a reminder on the agenda, the first public comment are general public comments. There will be a public hearing on the mid-biennium budget. And so for those of you who'd like to speak to that, please hold your comments till we get to that time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To facilitate an efficient public comment period, community members are encouraged to sign up to speak by 6:45 p.m. or to submit a written comment using the public comment form or by emailing cityclerk@burienwa.gov. The order in which City Council will receive comments will be as follows. First, we'll call on those who have signed up to speak. Second, we'll call on those who have used the raise hand feature on Zoom or have requested to speak in council chambers. Any submitted written comments will be forwarded to City Council and noted in the meeting minutes. Additionally, community members must consider to limit remarks to 2 minutes or less, and the total time allotted for the comment period is 30 minutes. At this time, we'll share the public comment sign-up list. For those attending in person, please be prepared to speak at the lectern, and for those attending on Zoom, please be prepared to unmute yourself. And at this time, we have 17 people sign up to speak. The first person signed up to speak is Kelsey Van He on Zoom. Kelsey, would you please unmute yourself at this time?
Thank you so much. I was really alarmed to learn about this email situation. I really think that this reflects very poorly on both the city manager and the mayor, and I think it is shameful that you would delay releasing this information to the public when it was sent to you last Friday. I can't help but wonder if the upcoming election has something to do with that. Furthermore, I just want to express my deep disappointment that we're rolling out this camping ban with very little community engagement. And I don't just mean engagement with the unhoused themselves, I mean engagement with the members of the community who, as our city manager said, expected this to just be a switch that flipped on November 1st and solve the issue. That increases tensions between the housed and unhoused communities, and I think we could have done a much better job of public outreach and education. Ultimately, I'm just really disappointed in our city manager's performance, and I hope that you as council will hold him accountable. He has a track record of refusing to meet with community groups like Burien People Power because we hold different views than him. And I think that real city management and real city leadership would be about bringing people together even across ideological differences and trying to have more conversations, not fewer. He often acts like community engagement, like the concerned citizens who emailed about the Oasis encampment are a burden to him, when I would think that that is the core part of his job. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Jennifer Fachamba.
Council, I have a lot of things to say, but the gaslighting that I witnessed this evening is appalling to me. I am actually standing here before you today, and I'm requesting that Mayor Aragon step down immediately. I'm also calling for the city manager, Bion, to resign immediately. I've asked him to resign several times. Both of you lack basic executive functions like checking and responding to emails. Also, City Manager Bion, your lack of understanding and care for our community of Burien is why I'm asking you to resign. Actually, you show lack of compassion for the people of this community. You don't understand our community. You've come in here and not done due diligence to understand what our community is about. I feel you can go back to California and you'd have better luck. I also just want to point out that not in my name are you doing a camping ban in Burien. It is not effective. It makes really outreach for our community very difficult. The social workers have a trouble outreaching when people get scattered. I also, not in my name, support the contract that City Manager Bayonne with the partnership of Deborah George and Discover Burien put together with More We Love. It is clear you realize the city couldn't contract with them as they didn't meet the qualifications to have a contract with the city, so you used a workaround. Also why you should resign. It is clear that the majority for council is not actually listening to community on either side. It is time for change. We need people who want to move Burien forward and want to ensure even the most marginalized in our community are supported. Thank you very much. Resign tonight, immediately. You can laugh all you want.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor,
Go ahead.
or point of personal privilege. I'm honestly shocked at what I just heard of someone telling our city manager to go back to California. Our Hispanic city manager to go back to California. I think the speaker should apologize immediately. I'm so ashamed of that, right? You just said, the speaker just said to our Hispanic city manager to go back to California. I am ashamed at what I just heard.
Point of personal privilege, Mayor.
Next speaker, please.
Point of privilege, Mayor.
Next speaker.
If the deputy
is-
mayor wants to let the last commenter respond and apologize or speak again, I would greatly be willing to entertain that.
Deputy
No,
Mayor, I
take,
will just let
okay,
you know
we're gonna
that I am-
recess for 10 minutes. Clear the room right now,
You asked me
right
to
now.
stop. Here we are.
right now. Up, everybody out. I've asked everybody to maintain order in this room and it hasn't happened.
No.
This is what we need to do. Go to the hallway. Time out, guys, time out.
Crazy.